The Moors murders. Even today, the name sends shivers down the spines of those who remember. In 1960s Britain, a nation on the brink of change found itself grappling with a series of crimes so heinous, so depraved, that they would forever scar the national psyche. The desolate Saddleworth Moor became a chilling symbol of evil. The discovery of young lives brutally extinguished sent shockwaves through the country. The sheer brutality, the cold-blooded nature of the killings left an indelible mark on the national consciousness. Newspapers splashed gruesome headlines recounting the grim discoveries. The victims, innocent children, snatched away from their families and subjected to unimaginable suffering. The names Myra Hindley and Ian Brady quickly became synonymous with evil. The Moors murders weren't just a series of killings. They were acts of calculated cruelty, meticulously planned and executed with a chilling detachment. The victims, 5 young souls, were lured to their deaths, their last moments filled with unimaginable terror. Their names, Pauline Reed, John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey, and Edward Evans, became etched in the collective memory of a nation forever scarred. These weren't impulsive acts of violence, they were acts of calculated cruelty. The victims were not merely killed, they were tortured, their suffering recorded and savored by their tormentors. The details, too horrific to recount in full, emerged during the trial. They painted a picture of a couple reveling in their sadism, their humanity eroded by a thirst for power and control. Parents across the country held their children a little closer, fear becoming a constant companion. The idyllic image of childhood, of carefree days playing in the streets, was shattered. To understand the Moors murders, one must delve into the twisted minds behind them. Ian Brady, the mastermind, was a product of a broken home, his childhood marked by poverty and neglect. Born into poverty in Glasgow, Scotland, Brady's early life was one of deprivation and instability. He was a solitary child, drawn to books and morbid fantasies. His early fascination with violence and death was evident. He devoured books about torture, sadism, and Nazi Germany. As he grew older, this fascination morphed into something darker, a desire not just to read about cruelty, but to inflict it. His criminal career began in his teenage years with petty theft and escalated to violence. By the time he met Myra Hindley, Brady was already well on his way to becoming a monster. He found in Hindley a willing accomplice, someone eager to please and to share in his depraved fantasies. Myra Hindley. Her name, forever linked with Brady's, evokes a chilling fascination. Was she a victim coerced into participating in his crimes, or was she a willing participant, an equal partner in evil? Born and raised in Manchester, Hindley's early life was unremarkable. She was described as quiet, even shy, but beneath the surface lurked a darkness that would soon be unleashed. Hindley's transformation began when she met Ian Brady at the factory where they both worked. She was immediately drawn to his brooding good looks and his aura of danger. For Hindley, Brady was a way to break free from the constraints of her working-class upbringing, to embrace a life of excitement and transgression. Under Brady's influence, Hindley underwent a dramatic transformation. She dyed her hair blonde, embraced a more glamorous appearance, and adopted a harder, more cynical persona. She became his protector, his confidant, and ultimately his accomplice in unspeakable acts. The reality is that Myra Hindley was an active participant in evil. Her transformation from ordinary girl to child killer, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human heart. What drove Hindley and Brady to commit such horrific acts? Was it a shared lust for power? A desire to exert their will over the innocent and vulnerable? Or was it something deeper, a shared darkness that found its outlet in violence and depravity? They embarked on a spree of killings that would shock the world. They targeted the most vulnerable, their victims chosen with a chilling lack of remorse. The Moors, a desolate and unforgiving landscape, became their killing ground, a place where they could act out their twisted fantasies without fear of discovery. They documented their crimes, taking photographs and making audio recordings of their victims' suffering. These chilling mementos, discovered years later, provided a glimpse into the depravity of their minds. The Moors murders were not simply acts of violence, but a grotesque performance, orchestrated to satisfy the darkest desires of 2 deeply disturbed individuals. The victims of the Moors murders were more than just names on a list. They were children with their own hopes and dreams, their lives cut tragically short. Pauline Reed, just 16, was the first victim, her disappearance in July 1963 marking the beginning of a nightmare that would last for years. John Kilbride, a cheerful 12-year-old, was snatched just months later, his body buried on the moors. Keith Bennett, just 12 years old, vanished in June 1964. His body has never been found, leaving his family with the agonizing uncertainty that has haunted them for decades. Leslie Ann Downey, a bright and bubbly 10-year-old, was lured from a fairground on Boxing Day 1964. Edward Evans, 17, was the last victim, his murder witnessed by Hindley's brother-in-law, leading to their capture. Each life taken represented a future destroyed, a family torn apart by grief and loss. The search for Keith Bennett's body continues to this day, a testament to the enduring legacy of the Moors murders. The reign of terror finally ended in October 1965. Hindley's brother-in-law, David Smith, witnessed the brutal murder of Edward Evans and went to the police. This act of courage brought an end to the killings, but it also marked the beginning of a long and arduous journey for justice. The subsequent investigation revealed the full horror of the crimes committed on the moors. The trial of Hindley and Brady was a media sensation, captivating and horrifying the nation in equal measure. The evidence against them was overwhelming, including the gruesome discoveries on the moors and the chilling recordings of their victims' suffering. In May 1966, both were found guilty of multiple counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. The Moors murders became a defining moment in British criminal history, forever changing the way the nation viewed crime and punishment. The Moors murders continue to haunt the British psyche, even decades after the crimes were committed. The case represents a chilling example of human depravity, a dark stain on the national consciousness. The victims, young and innocent, became symbols of the fragility of life and the random nature of evil. Their faces, forever young in the photographs circulated by the media, serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of these crimes. The case ignited a debate about the role of the media in sensationalizing crime. Books, documentaries, and films have explored the case from every angle, attempting to understand the motivations of the killers and the enduring legacy of their crimes. The Moors murders remain a subject of morbid fascination. The continued search for Keith Bennett's remains serves as a painful reminder that, for the families of the victims, the nightmare never truly ends. The Moors murders continue to cast a long shadow over the community, a reminder of the darkness that once descended upon their doorstep. The Moors murders had a profound impact on the British justice system. The case led to calls for tougher sentencing guidelines, particularly for crimes against children. The public outcry over the brutality of the killings contributed to the strengthening of laws designed to protect children and hold perpetrators accountable for their actions. The case also highlighted the importance of victim support services. In the wake of the Moors murders, there was a growing recognition of the need to provide counseling and support to the families of victims, who often felt forgotten by the justice system. New organizations emerged to provide practical and emotional support to those affected by crime, recognizing the long-term trauma that such events can inflict. The lessons learned from the Moors murders helped to shape modern policing, leading to more sophisticated investigative techniques and a greater emphasis on evidence-based prosecution. The legacy of the Moors murders is not just one of horror, but also of important lessons learned and positive changes made to protect future generations. The Moors murders remain a dark chapter in British history. The case continues to fascinate and horrify, a testament to the enduring power of evil to shock and appall. The victims, forever young in the public imagination, serve as a reminder of the innocence lost and the enduring impact of such horrific crimes. Their memory lives on, not just in the hearts of those who knew and loved them, but in the collective consciousness of a nation forever marked by their loss. The Moors themselves stand as a chilling reminder of the crimes. The landscape, once a place of stark beauty, is now imbued with a sense of unease, a palpable reminder of the darkness that once unfolded there. The Moors murders serve as a stark reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places. The legacy of the Moors murders is a complex one, encompassing both the horror of the crimes and the positive changes that emerged in their wake.